Think about your relationships. Think about the many different varieties of relationships. Some relationships, the people in your life, you really click with them. You really bond with them in a trine-like way that's super easy. You get along great. There's no problems. You share a lot of commonalities. The relationship is overall very positive. But other relationships require work, require commitment, require you acquiring a sense of, I want to build this relationship that may be challenging in my life, where it's a square or an opposition relationship, where you don't necessarily bond with the person and it takes work to bond with them. And so relationships are a really, really big focus because we have the two planets of relationship forming a square aspect. We have Venus and Mars squaring each other on August 22nd, which can be difficulties in relationship that need to get looked at and fixed. We'll talk about that when we get there. But these couple of days, there's not a lot going on. On the last video, I talked forever about what was going on August 19th because there was a lot going on. But these are a quieter couple of days. After I get done with talking about the astrology for August 21st and 22nd, I have pulled oracle cards from the Mystical Shaman Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. I'm very, very excited about this new deck. It came yesterday. I'm currently recording this on August 18th of 2024. So this is the first official day of having these oracle cards. So we'll get into that later. So the astrology is what's going on. What is the energy going on? How to work with the energy, what to focus on, how to approach the energy is what the oracle cards will cover. I believe that you need oracle cards when it comes to if you're talking about how to work with astrology. Astrology can tell you so much, but it does not tell you how to work with the energies. So we begin on August 21st with a moon in Pisces opposing Venus in Virgo. And so Venus in Virgo in astrology, even though it's not in my belief system, it is factually considered fall because Venus in Virgo is super particular and super discerning when it comes to relationships. It's like I have this checklist where all these boxes need to be ticked off in order for the person to meet my standards. Whereas Venus in Pisces, where it's considered exalted, is unconditional, continual flowing love where I love everyone, and it's an empathetic and compassionate placement for Venus to be in. And the moon in Pisces is very dreamy, very romantic, very sensitive emotionally. So, this is a time where we feel a strong need to connect on an emotional level with other people in our life. There may be difficulty when it comes to sharing tenderness. At this time, it may be difficult to be loving and caring and compassionate and affectionate at this time. So there may be difficulties in relationship when it comes to that. There may be differences when it comes to areas of issue at this time on an emotional level. Um, so there may be relationship differences that may cause issues. You may have a disagreement of some type that may cause issues during this time of the two people involved getting along. Negative manifestations of relationship can come about if the relationship is not based on genuine mutual love. So manipulation, jealousy, controlling issues, deceit, betrayal, all these negative manifestations can come about during this time. So be aware of that. Lowering your standards in relationship. Don't do that. If emotions are not fulfilled by humans in your life, if you're not getting, people that are nurturing and that bond with you, very, very well on an emotional level. And if you don't feel bonded, if you don't feel connected and loved by the people in your life, you could turn to food and videos on YouTube or other things that bring you that sense of I am loved, I am protected, I am nourished. So you may turn to other things at this time to fill in the gaps. Now, the moon is also going to square Mars. So the moon trine Mars. In the last video where I talked about the moon was in Aquarius, Mars was in Gemini, it's a wonderful energy to initiate things. Moon square Mars brings a tension. It brings a really, really strong urge to go after what it is that you desire, to go after what it is that you want. You may be short-tempered and impatient. If a disappointment comes up, you may lose your temper more easily. You may be less patient to wait for the results to come in. You may be less patient to wait for the money to come in for your job or wait for the things to come to you that you want. So be aware of that short fuse energy. Irritation and botherations in your life can cause you to emotionally react, emotionally just act about something that bothers you, that irritates you. So be aware of that. You may feel the need to act impulsively at this time, but this is not a good time to act out of impulse. This is a time to think about what you're going to do before you're going to do it. Plan it out really, really well, and then take action once you've checked off all the boxes. And so this really comes down to releasing your emotions in a controlled and a practical way, not in an impulsive way. So consider expressing your emotions in constructive ways at this time. This is also great for having courage to go after what you desire. And do be aware of temper tantrums that can come up during this time. Now, the moon is going to sextile Uranus. So this is a great opportunity for us because the sextile is a positive aspect. This is great to try something new in your life, whatever that may be that you want to try. Now it's time to try it because the sextile indicates an opportunity that requires us to take action. Your intuition may be stronger at this time. You may stumble upon really, really valuable insights and information that you may come across. So do be aware of the signs that you come across in your life, the synchronicities that you come across in your life. And look at the lesson behind that. Look at the real point and the meaning behind the information that you're coming across because it may help you. It may be valuable to you in your life. If you have any encounters with the people that you meet, it may lead to solid relationships at this time. However, forming long-term relationships would benefit from a different aspect than the moon sextile Uranus. Another thing to use this energy is to replace old habits with new ones. This is an energy of throwing out that habit pattern, that routine that doesn't work for you, and forming new habit patterns. The moon is also going to conjunct Neptune on this particular day. So your emotional sensitivity may be turned up at this time, may be tuned up. You may feel more emotionally sensitive. Your imagination may be tuned up. You may feel more imaginative at this time. Maybe you can pick up on the energies of others and intuit what they're going through and understand on a deep soul level what they are going through in their lives. That could be a possibility with this. You may become confused or deluded at this time. So be aware of if you're becoming confused and deluded at a piece of information or something within yourself. You may fall into addictive and unhealthy habit patterns. So, so be aware of any unhealthy habit patterns that you get yourself into and use the moon sextile Uranus energy to form new habit patterns. This is wonderful for being empathetic and compassionate towards others. But this poses a challenge when it comes to discerning between, because conjunctions highlight both the negative and positive aspects of the two planets involved. So it becomes really, really important now to discern what is true, what's not true, what is fantasy, what's up in your head, and what is the reality of how things really are, especially when it comes to relationships. What do you fantasize as this person that you want them to be like, and who are they actually are really? Um, and discerning between the things that you do in your life. And it becomes really, really important now to separate what's fantasy, what's reality. This is wonderful for also creating something artistic as well, because Neptune is, the arts. It rules the, channeling things. Neptune rules channeling artistic works that come from you moving into a higher state of being and channeling them from the divine. So now we're going to talk about the energies of August 22nd. So I do want to read you an article about one aspect going on, which is the moon opposite Lilith, and this is what it says. Let me just zoom in so that I can read it to you. So the moon in Pisces, or the moon in Aries opposite the Lilith and Libra as far as I'm concerned. This is what it says. As with all oppositions, this aspect is characterized by a pull in opposite directions, wanting different things that are still quite similar and need and balance each other out. This aspect is often viewed as the enemy, and there is usually one side to it that is stronger to begin with, usually the one we like the most, and not the heavier and less socially acceptable one in this case. It's a safe bet to say that Lilith is the rejected one, but I'm sure that's not the case for everyone. One would need to look at the rest of the chart, especially the conditioning of the moon, to be sure. When we reject a part of ourselves, it usually manages to come into our lives some other way, and that's when we run the risk of being victim to it. The lesson to learn with oppositions so that they are easier dealt with is to compromise, integrate, and accept both energies as much as we can. No one will ever do it completely. We still need some tension in our lives after all, and that's when we grow and are able to help others with it. I think an opposition between the moon and something so volatile as Lilith, bound to bring repression of emotion. This individual could think their emotions are too rebellious, too intense or confrontational, too impulsive, taboo even. If they try to deny their existence, wanting more balanced and harmonious emotions, harmonic emotions, and push them deep within their psyche, which of course is never helpful. However, these people are often intuitive about other people's emotions and want to help them, and they tend to have a magnetism that draws people in. They have strong instincts that they don't really listen to. They need to trust themselves more. Despite this, they're charismatic when they feel relaxed and at home somehow, somewhere. They usually have deep feelings about women, activism, and sex too, which could be seen as quite an emotional act to them. They might be obsessive, possibly, and issues surrounding the mother figure, the home, safety, the past, or even food. They might have expensive or unconventional food taste. Maybe they're vegan, vegetarian, etc., or just have a penchant for spice. As is typical with the moon, this aspect can tell us a bit about the mother figure, or a feminine person that holds great importance to them. They may be a rebel, feminist, sex worker, outcast, addict, activist, or a hands-on healer, medical professional. I'm thinking, though, this could be the native themselves. They might be argumentative, impulsive, innovative, unconventional, intuitive, charismatic, glamorous, or obsessive. The native wants to be seen and treated like an equal by them. The moon also represents the home, unconventional, with a focus on equality, glamorous. It may be the case that the home was like this, or the individual hopes to make their home this way. They may have been kicked out in the past. In a less literal sense, the moon is the home to which we escape and feel secure. The native may throw themselves into activism to escape from the struggles of their own lives. They may use sex to do so, or make up and clothes. They nurture and are nurtured unconventionally, though standing up for themselves and others, or having others stand up for them. They might even use food, sex, alcohol, or drugs. I feel like Lilith is like a mix of Pluto and Uranus, so they can be quite rebellious, but in a way that leads to positive things such as innovation. They don't back down from confrontation either. They could be activists for women, mothers, animals, and their home country and culture. They may have feelings of being an outcast, especially in their past, which may have been aggressive in some way. A feminine family member may have been an addict or particularly obsessive in their childhood. Their true self may be at odds with society and in some way, or at least they perceive that to be the case and fear it. Now, another aspect going on August 22nd is, of course, the Venus-Mars square, the Venus-Mars clash. So this can cause tension in relationships. That's the first thing to note with this. Your sex drive may be increased at this time. So that's another thing to note. Don't fall into lust and lower your standards of dating. There's a strong need here for sexual satisfaction. You may feel more angry and impulsive at this time in your relationships. When it comes to, making the first move, meeting somebody, um, interacting with them, you may feel like, you need excitement in your relationships. Do not lose your temper if there's anger that you feel in your relationship. So keep it down, calm down, find ways to calm yourself down, find ways to ground yourself and use your anger in constructive ways. This is an energy which represents healthy compromise, where you're not agreeing and bending over backwards with others, that you and your partner's needs are getting considered and you're working on a healthy compromise. This is a time where you want to channel your angry energy. That's the key with this in constructive ways. So I did pull a couple cards for August 21st and August 22nd. I am going to read a section of the card from the guidebook. The first card that I pulled for August 21st is Thunder. So I'm going to read from the book about the essence of the card, what the card is about, which I forgot to do on the last video because I was so excited about getting this deck. So I'm so wrapped into the actual meaning of what the card is about, the actual invitation of it. So this is what it says for the card. This is a little background to this particular card. So the essence. Legends speak of great thunder beings who live in the sky and call for your attention when great occurrences are meant to happen in the world. They warn when tensions in a situation are called upon to be released. The presence in your reading reminds you of the dramatic moments in life that change everything, both awesome and frightening when thunder arrives. It is also a wake-up call, one that you will not soon forget. So this represents big dramatic changes that may happen in your life. So you may have big dramatic changes that may happen in any area of your life, be it your health, your daily routines, or your eighth house, your deep spiritual self, your underground self, your connections with inheritances and other people's money. So there may be big and dramatic changes that may happen at this time. This is the time to surrender to the flow of life, adapt to life on life's terms. Whatever is going on in your life that you may not have control over, now is the time to surrender it to the divine. And that's your invitation for this particular day. This is a time to be prepared for anything that could happen in life and expect the unexpected in your life. Opportunities may come your way, so say yes to those opportunities. Respond to those opportunities. Take advantage of those opportunities that may come your way with this time. And surrender whatever form those opportunities come in and adapt to the flow of life and take those opportunities. Now, I did pull the second card for August 22nd, which is the Ancient Ones reversed. And I got this card last time in the upright position. So this card is reversed, as you can see. So this is card number 1, and I'm going to read the essence of the card so you can understand what it's about here, which I forgot to do the last time. So this is the redemption, but I can read it, what I didn't read the last time. So the essence, this is what it says. The Ancient Ones are the shamans of old who defeated death and escaped from the tyranny of time. The Ancient Ones once walked the earth like us in flesh and bone. Now they reside in infinity and can counsel us after we say yes to our calling. They're available to help us attain our full realization. So the big question with this card is, what are your actions? Are you acting in a way that is of your highest integrity and of your highest truth? Is what you are doing true for you? That's the big question to ask at this time. Do you really want to do it? Are you acting upon it because somebody else told you to, that you have to do it? That it's an obligation? What is true for you at this time? And move in that direction of what's true for you at this time, whatever that may be for you. This is also an invitation to release ancestral wounds and forgive them, to let them go, to let the past go, and forgive the people that you need to forgive. And that ultimately frees you from the burden of that grudge that you have against them when you forgive them. And choose to be present with your life and move in a direction that's true for you. So that's what that card is about. I hope that you found value from this. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.